Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom, Gogmanakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again, another lesson. And I think this one's going to be titled, It Didn't Even Take 3 days, or it didn't even take 4 days. Trump or Nero lies about putting U.S. troops on ground in Middle East, or on the ground in Iran, something along those lines, right? So it didn't even take 4 days; it took 3. Okay, so just 3 days ago, all right, you can see it. Oh, well, you can't see because I got the banner down there, but it's currently March 25th, and there was an article put out yesterday, the 24th. About what we're going to talk about. But on March 21st, I made a lesson titled Nero says he's not going to put U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. Okay, so that was the 21st. The things that we're going to talk to were published on the 24th. Okay, that's literally 3 days. Okay, 21st, 22nd. Well, yeah, if you're counting the 21st, if not, it's like 2 days. Right? So yeah, man, that's, and in this lesson, I made this lesson. I'll go over here. And I'll go ahead and play a little bit of it. Okay. You can see, I'll play it. Here we go. Just a little bit. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Rakakwadash. I want to say Shalom, real quick. Gogmanakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And this is just a little quick one. I saw this earlier. It was in a little news section on YouTube. When you scroll through, sometimes it'll be like breaking news or developing news or popular news stories in general. And I saw this one, and I was like, yeah, that's crock shit. Right, so who was this by? It doesn't say, however, it has whatever this brand is, all right? And it says, Trump says he's not putting U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. Complete bullshit. And they said, if you look at a little overview here, it says, with the Iran war set to enter its 4th week, President Donald Trump was pressed on whether he plans to send U.S. ground troops to Iran, saying, no, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you, but I'm not putting troops, right? So, just a quick little thing. And that's, again, that was literally 3 days ago now, all right? So, 4 days ago now, because this was the 21st, right? Or 4 days ago. Okay, yeah, 4 days ago. So, look, man, and, through the spirit and power, that's what, we do. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, said it wasn't going to happen, all right? Said he wasn't going to stick to his word, all right? And that's not me being prideful, all right? That's just what, we do in this truth. A prophet tells you what's going to happen before it happens. Anybody with a fucking mind would be able to tell you that that's a lie. And it didn't even take him 3 days, okay? 3 days, okay? Because, again, we're reporting this a day late, right? But we're certainly not $1 short, right? So, as I was scrolling through Reddit today, I came across an article. I don't have that Reddit article, all right, because I just went up and I just looked it up. But you just type in U.S. to deploy 3,000, okay, and you see that it was just a couple days ago that he talks about this, all right, or just 1 day ago. It says Pentagon prepares to send another 3,000 to the Middle East, okay. Because I guess he already sent a 3,000. I guess they weren't on ground. It's this the fucking liar, right? The liar of liars, this fucking guy, right? He's a politician. We already know politicians lie, but Donald Trump, Nero 47, that guy is a liar amongst liars. That guy is, fuck, he'd lie about, what type of milk he has in the fridge. It's ridiculous, lying about just anything. And that's just how Esau is at the end of the day, all right? But yeah, it says he's not putting U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. Well, that was a fucking lie. All right, what was that a meme from? So that was a lie meme. Was it where was it? Oh yeah, here it is. So that was a fucking lie. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep this. This is gonna be the thumbnail. This is gonna be the thumbnail. So that was a fucking lie. Yeah, because that's what it was. It was a fucking lie, man. He says, "I'm not gonna put boots on ground in Iran." As soon as that said, I said, "That's bullshit. You're a fucking liar." All right, that's a liar. It's a liar right there. This guy right here, that's a liar. Okay. So let's read a couple of these articles. You just type it in, and you'll see a whole bunch of information about him not deploying or sending any troops out right to Iran. He would never do that. Okay, so from Politico, all right, I got most of these up. Politico, I'm just going to read the headlines. It says, Pentagon prepares to send another 3,000 troops to the Middle East. New York Times, Pentagon officials weigh deployment of airborne troops for Iran war. Wall Street Journal says, Pentagon to order 3,000 82nd Airborne soldiers to Middle East. I'm glad that they said what type of soldiers are actually being sent, because the 82nd Airborne Division is going to give us a lot of information on what's really going to go down there. And then Reuters says U.S. expected to send thousands more soldiers. That's not really proper English. U.S. expected to send thousands more soldiers. Thousands. That just doesn't. Anyway, U.S. expected to send thousands more soldiers to Middle East, sources say. I mean, it's just weirdly worded. Pentagon prepares 3,000 troops from Army's elite 82nd Airborne for Iran war. There you go. There's the one New York Post that didn't fucking beat around the bush and say the Middle East. Where? Well, the New York Times said the Iran war as well. Right? We got all these different things out here. And you can type in Reddit, and we can see what Reddit has to say. Let's go to, let's go here. We'll open it in a private window. Come on, man. This is the easiest way to do it.
Transmitter or switches.
And I'm not fucking playing games with trying to... There we go again. Anyway. Oh, there we go. Good. It was removed by the moderator. Why? Why was it removed? That's interesting. So they're trying to silence shit. Okay. Okay. Let's see. It says the 82nd Airborne is basically America's aggressive check engine light. Whenever something breaks, they just get thrown at the dashboard. It says, in my opinion, it essentially guarantees that the USA is about to invade Karg Island as leverage to try and bring Iran to the negotiating table. Assuming U.S. leadership isn't dumb enough to get them all slaughtered, airdropping them on Tehran, which is a big assumption. They would go to Isfahan, not Tehran, allegedly. Let's see. What else do we got here? MAGA is so dumb. This is the dumbest thing for the dumbest people. And then they say, fitting for America, to be honest. I don't mean to be antagonistic, but for fuck's sake, they elected this dude twice. No, they didn't, really. I mean, you really want to get down to it, Electoral College, all right, voting, it was there. They had the main one, all right. I mean, the time before, Trump didn't even win the majority vote, so I don't know what you're talking about. I bet Putin has already been briefed on how and when they'll be arriving. It says Trump did mention a recent phone call with Putin during his speech today. That's what they say. But the thing is that they're still on this Trump and Putin being best friends kick. These Democrats. These Democrats are just as dumb as the Republicans. They just don't realize it. But that's because the Democrats are the more they both have brain dirtying on each side. They both have propaganda fed to them. But in general, the Democrats are the ones that are fed more of the propaganda of, all these different things. All right, the Republicans, they're a little bit different. They are the ones that believe in like false statistics, right? Anyway, should be sending all Trump's family members, yada yada yada. Let's go and look at something else, because world news on Reddit already has like a how would you say it? A bad rep. All right, so let's just go to news. All right, let's see what news says. It's like it for the dog in the background. Little asshole likes to bark.
Interested in your
Interested. Okay, that should get us in. And then it's gonna say, nope, sorry, can't. And then I'm gonna hit back. Then it'll give it to us. Quoting System of a Down lyrics. So let's see. Even more troops for a war that isn't a war, that we already won. Yeah, because Trump said it's not a war, and then second he said we already won it. Okay, so it's all a bunch of lies. Here's and we don't need any help, but actually we do, and y'all are cowards for not helping. But we already did win, and everything's fine. Hee hee, and then the sweat emoji. There we go. What else do we have? It says Iran now demanding release of Epstein files before opening back up. Damn. It says it's sad. Oh, it says it's sad that I can't tell if this is true or not. Isn't this Poe's law or something like that? It's actually true, and it's insane. Iran's Security Council secretary has explicitly said to expect a 9/11 incident that is blamed on Iran, and that Iran's fight isn't with the general American population. Then when Hegseth said Iran's leaders are hiding, he hit Hegseth with, Mr. Hegseth, our leaders have been and still are among the people, but your leaders on Epstein Island. Damn. So he said, they said, the war's not with the population, all right, Americans. It's against specifically their government. It's going to blow up, though. It's going to blow up. That's how it always goes. Yeah, so this is a big, heavy hitter right here, okay? And this is something that you need to watch out for, because it's going to happen soon. It says Iran Security Council secretary has explicitly said to expect a 9/11 level incident that's blamed on Iran. And it's going to happen. For example, there's been small hat talk. And you can see it was searched in Israel about a attack on Mickey Mouse Land. Okay? I'm not going to, say too much on it, but that's the rumor that's been going around. Could be something, could be nothing. Okay, could be something, could be nothing. Another one is, there's gonna be false flag. That you had that oil refinery in Texas just recently. There's gonna be some different stuff going on, so you just got to keep your eyes peeled, man. This guy said so much for de-escalation. Boots on ground. I love gas for $7 a gallon. What else do we have? Let's see. And that's all it's really going to give us. Oh, I guess someone down here. But yeah, man. So boots on ground. But he just said he wasn't going to deploy any troops. And then it says that they're deploying troops. So what is that? A liar. Job 13:4. It says, but ye are forgers of lies. You're all physicians of no value. It shows you two things. All right. They are forgers. A forger, for example, someone who forges steel is called a blacksmith. A blacksmith is one who makes all sorts of manners of metal goods. All right, back in the day, they'd make doorknobs and door hinges and nails and hammers and axes and swords and knives and forks and all these different things. All right, any type of metal, steel working that you would need done. All right, if you had a metal door or a door frame, he's the one that would be making those things. Okay, a prison cell, he's the one that would be, making the bars that would go into that cell. And of course, then you'd probably have, some type of construction worker that would install them. But that's what they do. They make something. Blacksmiths make something out of metal. And that's what a forger is. Okay, a forger of lies is someone who comes up with cunningly devises and plans and creates lies. Okay, and this scripture is referring to Esau. Okay, but you are forgers of lies. You're all physicians of no value, and that's the second point. They're physicians of no value, which shows you that they cannot help you medically. That's why you'll go there over and 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 over again, and they still won't be able to find what's wrong with you. So then you go over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they still can't figure it out. And then they say, "Oh, well, it might be this." I don't need you to tell me what it might be. I need you to tell me what it is. Okay? I can go on the internet if I want to find out what it might be. If I go and look up have a headache, what could it be? It'll tell me a million things of what could it be, right? That it's not going to diagnose me. You go to the doctor to get diagnosed, not what it could be. Oh, it could be it could be, this, it could be that, it's ridiculous. They literally did that. It could be pharyngitis, it could be laryngitis, it could just be a little sore throat, it could be you getting over a cold, yeah, I'm sure it could be all those things, but what is it, doc? All right, that's the fucking reason I came here, not because I wanted to know what it could be. I looked up what it could be, okay? Sure, it could be those things, right? But it doesn't match up with those things, dummy. And then I go to another one, they say, oh, it could be, this laryngopharyngeal reflex. It could be. Well, could it be or is it? Right? Could it be or is it? And half the doctors, they don't want to run tests no more, right? So that's why it's all through your how about meow shy. If you don't want something being found out at this exact moment, he's not gonna have it found out. All right, especially in somewhere like Vegas, because our medical professionals here are fucking quacks, man. They say quackery is the use of herbs. No, a quack is someone. Oh, you use ChatGPT to get through fucking school, and now you don't know anything. All right, you don't know how to talk. You're fucking weird. You got the fucking weird Gen Z stare in your eyes. You're all fucked up. Hey dog, how you doing? How are you doing? What brings you in today? Look, can I get someone who's not a nurse practitioner? Can I get a fucking doctor? Good lord. Anyway, Slovakia, minor crash out. But it shows you that Esau can't help you for shit. They don't know anything. They're not good medically. Okay? Of course, at the end of the day, it's Yahweh Meow Shai that helps you, and he can have help come to you through an Edomite doctor that you have to go through. But a lot of the time, the doctors, are better. The Asians are the better doctors. All right, they still have their herbs. That some of them are fucking crazy. Some of them don't work. Some of them do work. All right, some of them will tell you use this herb and it'll heal you. Some of them say, chew rhino penis and make you very fertile. No, that shit's crazy as fuck. All right, that shit's crazy as fuck. But here on Politico, excuse me, let me grab a drink. And we're not necessarily going to read every single article, right? But because they're all going to be similar, but we'll skim through them. It says the Pentagon is preparing to deploy about 3,000 troops from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East, adding to the thousands of Marines already headed to the region to assist with operations in Iran. I thought they weren't doing boots on ground. What are they going to do? Hover around in the air? Right? What is it? Be drone strikes and stuff, not boots on grounds? Well, if you're sending Marines don't do shit up in the air. And they damn sure don't sit behind computers most of the time. Marines are boots on ground with guns and tactics, all right? Same for the Army for the most part, especially the 82nd Airborne, okay? The 82nd Airborne has a big history, man. A big history. You throw them out of fucking planes with guns and they land and they get shit done. At least they used to. America's military is chipping away and falling away. It's like a... It's like let's see. It's like a piece of plastic that sat out in the sun. It used to be strong, but then it sat out there and it withered away. Now it cracks and it's very brittle. Okay, so let's before we even really get started, let's get who is the 82nd Airborne Division? We need to know, right? So the 82nd Airborne Division, All-American, is the United States Army Airborne Infantry Division. Infantry Division. What is Infantry Division? What is infantry? Infantry are specialized ground combat troops who fight on foot to locate, close with, and destroy enemy forces. So, what is that? Boots on ground. Boots on ground. Infantry is infantry. Boots on ground? It obviously is, but let chat say it in case nobody believes what I have to say, right? Boots on ground is a military and political term referring to the presence of combat troops, infantry, physically on the ground in a conflict zone to secure land rather than solely relying on air or naval power. So yes, they just went boots on ground. And guess what? Boots on ground is eventually going to happen in America as well. They say it's not, but mind you, they also said that they weren't going to do boots on ground in Iran. And they were already doing it, and they're going to do it some more. And he lied, all right? And anybody with a half mind, anybody that knows anything, all right, would have been able to tell you that that was a fucking lie. All right, that was a bullshit fucking bullface lie, okay? It says, so they're an infantry division that specializes in parachute assault. Okay, what is parachute assault? That means you drop out of a fucking plane on a parachute and you go down and you rip shit up. Air assault. Okay, air assault is there was a game. What was that game? Aerial assault. I guess it was the Sega Master System. Aerial assault. Oh yeah, and Tribes. That was the other one. Tribes on the PlayStation 2. Tribes. Aerial assault. I think there was another one though. Maybe those are the only two that I'm thinking of. But yeah, aerial assault. Okay, so it's an aerial. So aerial assault is the movement of ground-based military forces by vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, VTOL, such as helicopters. Okay, so they did a lot. UH-60 Blackhawks. All right, and they drop them out. They did the same thing in Vietnam with the UH-1 Hueys. So yeah, man. Here we go. There's a Huey. There's Vietnam. All right. So, extraction of troops after an air mobile assault during the Vietnam War. So that's what they do. All right. That's what they do. And I don't know how many times. I don't know if it was really. Vietnam's one of the wars I'm more familiar with. It was kind of like an area of focus for a while. I was very, interested in the Vietnam video games and the movies and learning about the history and all that stuff in Vietnam. There's a lot of interesting. I mean, it was really America's first modern war. Okay, night vision and all that shit and a lot of crazy shit. And really, the last time that America maintained an image of power, if you really want to get down to it, some people can say, oh, the war in Afghanistan. No, not really. Not with Fallujah. They were getting their ass ate up, and so were they here. But they maintained an image of we're badasses and we're fighting and we're getting something done, even though they weren't. But the mask really had been slipping. All right, the mask has been slipping for some time, and they're not capable. They're really not capable of combat, and they were doing horrible in Vietnam as they were. They had some ground, but they were getting their asses kicked. But they were able to maintain the facade a little bit. It really started slipping bad in Vietnam. That's when it really started slipping. The soldiers using drugs, they're raping women, they're killing children, and they called them baby killers and spit on them. That's when the facade really started to slip. But here's another one, and this is the most common photo. It's not too rare to see a color photograph, but the most common film stock, fun fact, most common film stock used within the Vietnam War for shooting, all right, camera, all right, was Kodak Tri-X. All right, that's you can go and look that up. I believe so. Most common film stock used in the Vietnam War. Yeah, during the Vietnam War, Kodak Tri-X was the most common black and white film used by American photojournalists and military personnel. For color, high-speed Ektachrome and Kodachrome 2 were the standard. So there you go. So you get to see some, Ilford HP4, which is another monochrome film stock. But yeah, Tri-X, probably the best film stock ever made. It's just, man, look at that. It's got the rich blacks, good contrast. Anyway, I'm just gonna nerd out on film, but man, Tri-X is an excellent film stock. Some of these are a little exposed weird, but if you find a photo that's exposed well, about as good as you can, but when you're in the moment, so anyway, they're probably just using zone focusing. I'd imagine. You can't be out there fucking trying to focus and when you're getting shot at and shit, I imagine. But anyway, any of the people that like photography will enjoy the conversation. But I'll get back on track. I'm not the biggest in photography. I dabble in it, but so yeah, you can see. But anyway, aerial assault. They drop them out of planes with guns and they go down and they rip shit up. So it was first activated in Camp Gordon, Georgia, in August of 1917. So where do we want to get down here? Right here. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii on December 7th, 1941, the 82nd Airborne Division saw combat with the command of the United States Army General Omar Bradley. In August 1942, Bradley reconstituted this 82nd unit as the 1st Airborne Division of the U.S. Army as it fought in numerous campaigns of the war. So, again, it was originally the 82nd Infantry Division, so now it's the 82nd Airborne Division. You know, they are the first ones. You know, there's a lot of history behind the 82nd Airborne. They are the first ones to be labeled as airborne, you know, airborne troops. As you can see it, the 1st Airborne Division, well, of U.S. Army. 1st Airborne Division of the U.S. Army. So, there you go. But yeah, man. So, they're not fucking around, you know. Pentagon and to order 30, soon to be 30,000 more, 3,000 82nd Airborne soldiers to the Middle East. And like the other one said, they're soon to deploy even more. So, going back to Politico, we'll hop around a little bit. It says, no decisions have been made for troops to enter the country, according to 2 defense officials. Sure, more lies. Okay, you'll see them enter the country soon. Who confirmed the planned deployment, but the buildup of troops is a drastic escalation in the U.S.-Israel war against the Iranian regime and heightens the possibility of American service members will go into Iran. They're already fucking there. That's more a lie. They're already there, man. They're already in Iran. Okay? You don't think they already have fucking ground troops there? Yes, they're just not visible to the fucking public eye, man. Okay? So, you know, anybody with half a mind, you know, we know as men that teach this word and teach things to come, that's what prophesying is. That's what a prophet does. But, you know, it doesn't take that much of a brain to realize that yes, they are going to send more troops over. They're not just going to let this go, all right, and it is going to build up. I mean, the latest news that I heard just the other day, other than this, was that there has been a formal deal made between was it China and Russia, or China and I don't like to talk about it. It was right here, yeah. Oh, really? There's only one part. Trying to find out. Well, this is I'll just read from right here. It says, in justifying Operation Epic Fury, President Trump warned that Iran's menacing activities threaten the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world, pointing to in particular to Tehran's nuclear and missile programs. That's the other thing that people need to realize. This is not Afghanistan, all right? This is a fully developed nation, all right, with nuclear programs, missile programs, and a very large military. This ain't the Allahu Akbar, all right, we're walking around with a fucking, you know, the jihadis, all right, fucking sheep on the battlefield, all right, getting blew up by Blackhawks, no, or Apaches. Okay, no, this is no. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's, you know, they're still Ishmael, but it's not the same level of skill. Okay, and that's what a lot of Americans. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna blow those goddamn towel heads up. This is Iran. Okay, this is not Afghanistan. This is not Iraq. Okay, this is not Kuwait. Okay, this is Iran, a fully developed nation. Okay, and they got nukes. They got missiles. Okay, again, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know the full extent of what Iran is, and that's because the education system in the United States of America is a fucking joke, and a lot of our people here are fucking retards. That's what's going on with the American citizen, man. Idiocracy. Okay, it's in full effect. Nobody knows anything. We're gonna be able to. And the other thing is the idiocracy, how do I want to say it? You know, I love using the word pseudo. The pseudo intellectual political justification. You know, well, I can justify what the government's doing because we're smart and they're real dumb. Yeah, I'm sure, Cletus, we're real fucking smart. All right, ain't you got a sister to go and fuck? All right, fucking dumb, and you're these people are dumb. You don't look, man. You've been completely propagandized. All right, by the little orange man with your red hat on. All right, we're gonna make America great again. Is that so? Your hat's made in China. Anyway. It says, but yeah, we got the biggest, you know, we're basically just a big island. There ain't nothing they can do to come against us. I mean, we're surrounded on all sides. Sure there, Cletus. Sure. All right. And on top of that, we got the best military. No, you don't. You do realize they just pushed up enlistment ages? There's another raised enlistment age. They just did that to 42. U.S. Army raises upper age to recruits to 42 and scraps marijuana restrictions. Now you can be a pothead and you can be 42. Man, that means they need troops bad. That means people aren't going and signing up like they used to. They don't have able-bodied men to be able to go and do these things. And they're probably going to raise the draft age. Okay, it's been 27. The oldest that they've ever drafted in history is 26. It's technically 27 where it's reached, and they're eventually gonna start after they raise the draft limit for men. On top of that, they're gonna start doing women as well. Okay. It says, but Iran did not build up its most dangerous military capabilities alone. For decades, China, Russia, and North Korea, which together with Iran form the so-called axis of upheaval, as they're called. You know why? But they're not allowed to have their own NATO? Only you can, right? And if they do, they're evil? Psh. See, that's the thing. America has been lied. All the other countries are evil if America says they're evil. They could be minding their business, all right, and focused on their selves, all right, and if they're not focused on developing America, they're evil. They're the enemy. Go and bomb them, all right? Go in and put boots on the ground and shoot them up and kill them and murder them and send snipers and send nuke. That's what they do if you're not, with the American regime. Either you're down with Babylon, all right, or you go down. All right, get down with Babylon or get down in general is what America says, right? So it says the very program is now targeted by the U.S. and Israeli military operations. Again, that's small dog syndrome, okay? They can't stand having people out there that have, more power than them. And at this point, China, Russia, and North Korea as a combined whole have more power than the U.S. and Israel. They do, okay? They do. All right, back in the day, back in the 1940s, I tell you what, America would have went over there and bombed them, nuked them, boom, 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 settled that and would have been done, right? Would have been a big display of power. Everything would have been settled, all right, would have completely taken out, but they don't have that power anymore, okay? They don't have the power to go and do a Hiroshima, Nagasaki anymore, okay? They don't have that power. They don't. They're lacking that infrastructure. They're lacking the troops. They're lacking the weapons. They're even showing you that a lot of these bombs are not necessarily even active anymore. Okay, so yeah, man, and they're not, currently manufacturing to the level that people think they're manufacturing. They're not just making nukes every day. The last nuke they made is probably several years old. Okay, 10, 20, 30 years, right? So, how old on average are most nuclear bombs? Most nuclear weapons in the stockpiles are around 35 to 45 years old, right? So there you go. Every 5 to 12 years, tritium is used to boost explosive yield. Its half-life of only 12.3 years. So again, there's a lot of different things. The shelf life on these are, running out. Okay? A lot of these are running out. So, and they're, again, some of them are inert. But anyway, you see right here, it says the United States must also ensure that China, Russia, and North Korea cannot once again help Tehran rebuild the military programs that threaten the U.S. force. Why are you threatened? I thought you were the strongest military ever. Why? But no, just a couple days ago, it talked about it. Let's see if I can find it on my phone. Hmm. I have this post from earlier. I'll show you this. I don't have, but it's not really related, but it's still related. Check this out. So, you see that it says Trump, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone, we're flying everywhere we want, there's nobody even shooting at us. 10 minutes later, he said Iran had hit a F-35 for the first time in history with anti-air defenses. So yeah, Iran's got anti-air. Boom! Blowing out of the goddamn sky. Alright, you don't know what you're dealing with, man. You know, and that's the thing. A lot of these American citizens, they think, well, it's just Iran. No, it's not Iraq. Okay? It's not Afghanistan. It's not Kuwait. Okay? This is Iran. Okay? If we go and look up, we're going to look at Afghanistan. Okay? See Afghanistan? You see what it looks like? You know, these are the pictures you get of Afghanistan. Okay? These are the pictures you get of Afghanistan. You see it? Right? Even the cities look like shitholes. Right? There's some places over there that actually look good. But this is Afghanistan. Okay? Now, you can go and look at Iraq. Okay? You see the cities actually look nice outside of the areas that were bombed, right? Again, America wouldn't have you, look at this. They'll show you this instead. But Iraq also has areas that look like this. Now, Iran is going to show a lot about the war. And see what they show you? They'll show you some of these things, but they'll show you, like, all these photos. Okay? Oh, look, such a shithole, right? But Iran before... Go and see what it looked like 2016 era. If you type in before and then a date just like this, you can actually get results that are that date and before. So this is Iran. Okay? It's not a shithole like most people would think. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful looking city. What is this about? Getting Iran wrong. Okay, I bet it's talking about that. We're performing scheduled maintenance, so can't do anything. But yeah. Oh no, oh, that's not. Oh, this is Tehran. Okay. See? Doesn't look like how you thought it did it? Right? See, they just wanted. This is what they want you to think it looks like. This small little part right here. That's what it looks like. That's the whole place. Don't look at this. Because this looks too much like a developed place. All right? Like something like Chicago or Dallas. You go and look at Dallas. There you go. Just right down there. Just different color buildings. That's all. Okay? And it lights up too. It lights up too. And anybody that's ever been to Dallas knows that these photos like this, that ain't what it looks like. That ain't what it looks like at all. This is closer. This is about closer what it looks like. Until you're down on the street too. You know, they get these glory shots. But yeah, close. Right? Close. It's just like if you go to look up Las Vegas. All right, I live here. You look up Las Vegas. You know, this is accurate. That's not really too accurate. Looks beautiful. I'll admit that, Vegas to me is beautiful. I love, I love Las Vegas. I hate Vegas as well. I fucking hate this place. But I love it as well. It's got a lot of culture, a lot of, the gambling and history and the mafia and like the prohibition, and there's a lot of different interesting history in this city. And it's got a special vibe on it. Anybody that's been here, it's got a special vibe. The other cities just don't quite hit right. But also, this place is fucking expensive, and I fucking hate it at the same time. And, it's just one of those things where I love it, and I hate it. So, but, this is a more accurate. This one right here is more accurate. They push up all the, even at night, it doesn't look like that. It can sometimes, but they're pushing the contrast and the saturation up in those photos. Yeah, man. So, And this is a very specific shot from one angle over by the New York. So they're going to try to show you that, look what it looks like. Again, because when you look something up, it's trying to get to, it doesn't look like this. All right. Maybe back in the day it did, but no, it doesn't look like this now. All right. And that Vegas Vic, is what that is. That Vegas, this is the area right here. Yeah, this was old because now this is the Vegas. So this is Fremont Street, and the Pioneer Club in Vegas Vic. So there's actually a big dome over Fremont now. If you look up Fremont, there's a big dome over it. All right, and it looks like shit. Really, I mean, it smells like shit too. But yeah. But anyway, they try to, again, most of the data centers for the internet are in America, I believe. Where are most of the internet's data centers? Probably gonna put me on a fucking list. United States. All right, accounting for 40 to 46% of the global total. So they control the most out of anyone, right? And then Frankfurt. Okay, then London, then China, and Silicon Valley, so UK, Germany, and China after that. So America has a, what's the word I want to use? They have an advantage on really painting the internet out to what they want it to look like. So if they want Iran to look like a third world country, all right, then they can go ahead and make it a third world country. And mind you, third world country is an American-made term that was used to just describe, if you look up the word third world country, it's a derogatory term, right? It's an outdated Cold War era term that originally referred to nations that were not aligned with the U.S., which they called themselves as a first world. And the Soviet Union, second world. Okay, so it has evolved to mean developing nations often characterized by high poverty, low income, economic instability, poor infrastructure, primarily located in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. There is, and it'll say no, is Iran a third world country? No, it is not. Not a third world country. Okay, it's not a third world country. Okay, income level according to World Bank, Iran is classified as an upper middle income country. Okay, Iran is not solely reliant on oil, as a significant industrial sector, including biotechnology, nanotechnology, and automotive manufacturing. There you go. So they are developed. They are a developed nation, not a developing. They are a developed nation. Okay, but the Esau's lies. All right, they put them out there, and they completely change the world and make you think it's a third world country. They're in poverty. No, not all the Middle East is like that. Right? Mind you, Israel is in the Middle East. Are they a third world country? Are they undeveloped? No. All right, but they'll have you think Israel is developed in places like Iran or not. Okay, that's all propaganda that's fed into the American mind. Okay, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, another reason why you shouldn't trust these Edomites, man. And another reason on top of that is because he just said he wasn't going to do it, and then 3 days later he does it. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. This is in your Apocrypha. All right, it was originally in the Bible before they removed it. It was in the Bible for longer than it hasn't been in the Bible. Okay, the Protestants went ahead and got it removed. You can look that up, fact check it. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Okay, which means rust does not get better. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you know what else it does? It spreads. Okay, it spreads, and that's really what that's not what the scripture's talking about, but that is one of the goals of Esau, is to spread that rust, their wickedness. They want it to spread like a disease, all right, and take over. And if you're not part of one of those nations that agree and jump on to NATO, okay, and now NATO's turned their back. He said we need help, even though they didn't need help. Everybody said no, we're not doing it. This is on you. Okay, so they've completely turned their back, and that goes back into, and it hasn't happened in full effect, but that's already the light workings of them hating the whore. The 10 horns, all right. The 10 horns is referring to the EU. Okay, now the beast is referring to NATO, but the 10 horns is referring to the EU. Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast system, all right, which is NATO. These shall hate the whore. The whore is, as sat on top, as they say, mystery Babylon. Not a mystery now. We know who it is. At one point, it was a mystery, but not anymore. Babylon, America, all right, a.k.a. the whore. Okay, you can go and look that up. Actually, I'll just show the little, let me get it. So you can pause this if you want. Okay, this is the GMS sign. Again, I'm not in GMS, but I teach the same of them to the best of my ability. If I ever say anything wrong or incorrect, I didn't mean to do it through sincerity. I stumbled in speech, but not in heart, and that in no way is representative of Great Millstone and their teachings. All right, that would be on me. Okay, so disclaimer. But if you want the truth, GMS is the one that'll give it to you, and those that teach the same, primarily with GMS, you want to make sure you're getting it from the right people. Even such as myself, I'd have to be vetted as well to make sure that I'm saying what's right. If you want to be 100% safe, go with GMS. All right, they got that name. They're moderated. All right, the apostles are watching, making sure nothing fuckies going on. All right, so this is one of their charts that you'll see them have. Again, that's who I learned from is GMS. So I'm going to use the same things because it's accurate. It's true. That's what we do over here. We teach the truth. That's the same thing they do is teach the truth. All right. That's why we're aligned in the same cause. All right. Teaching the truth, building up the house of David, and ultimately hoping to be a part of the elect and get out of here. Okay. But not affiliated because, as we mentioned the other day, that term got disbanded by the head apostle Tahar because, again, people were using it and then doing a bunch of wicked shit and calling themselves affiliate. And that's not something you'd want to be associated with. Okay. So he got rid of the term rightfully. So this is one of the signs. The beast with 7 heads, and 10 horns is Nero. The 7 heads are representative of 7 governments or kingdoms that are ruled by Esau. All right, that is Germania Major, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Minor, the British, and the Greeks. And then sitting right at the top, Revelation 17:1, is the great whore, all right, America herself. As you can see off to the other side, well, you can see on the left here, tells you what chapters you should read if you want to get a better understanding about this. There's also breakdowns on it from the apostles and elders, Great Millstone, and brothers as well. It shows you the philosophy of the beast system of Esau. It's democracy, religion, idolatry, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, and murder. Okay, murder. And look, one right there. Boom. Lies. Okay, lies. So over here, some more importance. The 10 horns. That's what we're talking about today. 10 horns represent the Common Market or European Economic Community, the EEC, established in 1958. Today, the EEC is known as the EU, European Union, and it's made up of Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, and West Germany. And then NATO is an acronym for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was established on August 4th, 1949, consisting of 19 nations. Since then, more have joined, right? Since this list has been made. Well, this is really just showing the original 19, all right? But since then, more have joined. But it says these nations make up NATO, which is the beast, right? So there you go. And what is NATO going to do? All right, NATO. That whole thing's going to be turned upside fucking down as well. And some of those guys are going to, completely fucking deteriorate and disband too. Probably join the EU, mind you, which will probably push forth that prophecy because they're not going to want to be associated with NATO. So what are they going to do? Probably going to join up with the EU since they are European nations, right? Some of them at least. So Revelation 17:16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they're going to completely, turn their backs on America, and instead of fighting with her, they are going to fight her. Okay? So yeah, man, and that's all this shit is lies. It's all a bunch of lies. They're lying about the lies that they lied about. As you hear the elder Manata Zakba from GMS South Carolina say, all right, you lied about the lies you lied about. And that's what they do. They lie about the lies that they lied about. Okay? So you can keep on going if you want. I'm getting ready to close this out because it's been about almost 50 minutes. And everything that's been said on it pretty much has been said. I just got 2 scriptures. That's the importance. These articles, they're up here, man, if you want to read them. This one, maybe not so much because Wall Street Journal wants you to fucking pay $2 a week. Just go over here. All right? Just go over here. You can get it that way. You can look at that. You can get $1 for a week if you must. All right? But usually you can go here. In case it gives you issues, all right, with not being able to read it, okay, and trying to have you pay, I'll just have it just like this. Okay? You can pause and read everything that you need to read. All right, there you go. But yeah, we got 2 more scriptures. We're going to go ahead and close out. And this shows you, what the Lord says is true. Luke 8:17, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. And Trump said, even if I were, I wouldn't tell you. Well, guess what? It's going to come abroad, dummy. Okay? You can't fight scripture. You can't fight the Lord. If the Lord says something, it's done. Okay? If the Lord said you're going to turn purple and your head's going to pop and turn into confetti, and, meanwhile, there's, 7 clowns that dance around while a dog hops on one leg, it's going to happen. Now, the Lord won't say anything that ridiculous, but of course, if he said that was going to happen, all right, it's damn well going to happen. And Esau can try to mask it and say, no, we wanted to do it. We were actually just, putting on a play that was referencing that scripture to show we weren't actually that wasn't a prophecy coming forth. They'll try to cover it up all which ways. All right, but you can't hide from it. All right, what the Lord says is what the Lord does. Okay, and it says, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. So nothing's secret that's not going to be brought to our attention. Okay, nothing's going to be hid that's not going to be brought out for all to see. Okay, let's go and get the Good News Translation. Actually, let's get the easy to read version, and it'll break this down a little bit easier. It says, everything that is hidden will become clear, every secret thing will be made known, and everyone will see it. And everyone saw it. Everyone saw it. You said, it's not going to happen. We're not going boots on the ground. Don't have the best Trump impersonation, but it's fucking close enough, right? And that's, and then what happened? They went boots on the ground. Dumb. And they were already boots on ground. They were already boots on ground when he was lying in the first place about the lie that he was going to lie about, right? And then finally, Proverbs 12:19, it says, the lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. In this case, exactly 3 days. So, about the lie that he was currently lying about, because he was already lying about not having troops over there, and he lied about sending troops that he wasn't going to do that he did 3 days ago. So more lies will be coming soon. All right, so stay tuned. We'll hear him say something ridiculous. I don't know, but it's always going to be something stupid. And this is the workings of World War III. A lot of people say, this isn't World War III, this isn't World War III. Well, when shit started happening in 1911, that wasn't World War I either. That was just, the conflict, the war at the time. That was just the war at the time. It wasn't World War I yet. Same thing with World War II. At the time, it wasn't called the World War II. It was later on deemed that, a little bit quicker than World War I, because, again, they didn't have a World War I. They didn't have a World War in the first place. So World War I was the first one, so they called it a World War, and they, saw those same signs of World War II and deemed it as such. But at first, it was just the war. Then it built into the World War. Right now, people are just calling this the Middle East War, the war in the Middle East. All right? But now it's soon going to blow up to be World War III, okay? But it's not going to be in history books, okay? It's never going to be in the history books as World War III happened, because there's not going to be history books. You want to know why? Because World War III is going to completely wipe out, all right, the modern day living that you've so come to love, all right, and its wickedness. Babylon the Great, America is going to be completely wiped out. Israel is going to be completely wiped out, and the other nations are going to suffer some, irreparable harm as well. Okay, just not complete devastation by nuclear war. Some are going to go through hurricanes, tsunamis, droughts, fires or other things. All right, as they would say, natural disasters, and they're still going to be destroyed as well by the chariots when the Lord comes back. So, yeah, man. So all these lies that you see, they're going to be quickly disbanded. All right, as it says in the scriptures, a lying tongue is but for a moment. So that's all going to go away just about as quick as it comes out their mouth, really. So that's the lesson. All right. Lord, what was edifying? Okay. We're gonna close out there again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.